After my shift, I show Mitsuki and Kaguya around the dorm. I'm sure you've already spent some time here, but this is the lounge.
私たち実家が和風だからこういうの珍しく感じるよ。まるでホテルみたいだね。
Kaguya nods in agreement with what her sister said, or older sister says. Her delicate movements are rather adorable. It was Ichika who showed me around the dorm when I first moved in, right? There's some manga on the table. I wonder whose is it. Someone might need to use the table, so put the manga in an open space on the bookshelf. This is the balcony. Like the lounge, this is free for all dorm residents to use. Just make sure not to use it between the times of 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. because this is when Bakuri will be talking to the gods, and she doesn't like to be interrupted. The sisters stand on the balcony and stare out of the ocean entranced. Since it's nighttime, it's dark and a little hard to see. But even so, the ocean still has the power to draw people in. Looking at the dark, a deep indigo over the water surface, it feels like you're gazing into an unknowable abyss. We're pretty high up, so please be careful not to fall.
どれどれ？はあ、本当に高く。うわあ！お姉ちゃん？
Mitsuki tries to prop herself up on the handrail, but she loses her balance, and Kaguya hurriedly reaches her hand out. But she ends up grabbing her by the ears, making Mitsuki scream like she's being murdered. But it's not like Kaguya can let go of her ears. She has no choice but to pull her up by them. Mitsuki holds the base of her ears as she writhes in pain, while Kaguya looks on apologetically. This is quite the tragic scene that is unfolding before me. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
すみません。お姉ちゃんって少し…いえ、結構おっちょこちょいなので。
I have to admit, I kind of got that impression. After asking them to be careful one more time, we spent some time gazing out at the ocean. Once Ichika has put in a word for me, I start my first shift at Sweet's Tale right away. Well, shit. I didn't expect it to be so quick, but I guess we're getting straight into it. My uniform is the same as Sataria. Actually, this uniform originally came from Sweet's Tale. I've been using it because Sataria didn't have a men's uniform.
開店前に仕事の説明をしておくね。接客はセタリアでもしてるから問題ないと思うけど、こっちは販売もあるから。
Okay, to be fair, while Sataria and Sweet's Tale both have similar jobs, right, in terms of, you know, cleaning shit and coffee shit, Sweet's Tale has that other layer where they need someone to be able to bake shit. And I don't think Ichika's mum would be willing to stay as the head chef of Sweet's Tale, considering she's got a more important job as the ambassador of again all Beast Folk in Unigicho. So, of course, you're more likely to hire. I wouldn't be surprised, right, if they just hired an actual like chef, right, an actual baker, right, regardless of the fact that they were human or not, to just teach Ichika and Nana, and they might still be working here, or they quit and they just kept the uniform, right, and then just gave it to Yuzuki.
まず忘れちゃいけないのが、お持ち帰りかイートインか聞くこと。
Like, baking is a lot more complex. That doesn't... I don't mean to downplay, the art of coffee brewing, right? But there's a lot more that goes into baking cakes. Just objectively speaking. So, even if Ichika's mum was willing to teach Ichika and Nana, potentially, she wouldn't have been able to stay for long enough to actually teach them. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they just, hired a baker.
注文を聞いたらメモを取ってね。間違えるといけないし、他の店員が箱詰めをすることもあるから。生菓子だけじゃなくて、マドレーヌとかクッキーとか焼き菓子もあるから、会計するときに忘れないでね。
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. I only specified cakes, but it was never only... Sweets Tower was never only a cakes shop. Right, cake and coffee shop. Right, it's a patissier. Right, so it's expected that they would serve more baked goods, more baked goods than just cake. It's just that, Shieri, Mikuri, and Yuzuki only order cake. I nod as I write down my tasks in my notebook. Not that she's mentioning it. Everything that Ichika and Nana do is also done by everyone here at Sweet's Tale. Those tasks might seem obvious, but it would be pretty hard to remember all of them all, if no one walked me through the list. When I started working at Tataria, I learned a lot about what it means to have a job.
あとはお持ち帰りの時間を聞いたり、ケーキの予約を受けたりもするね。もちろん、イートインメニューの提供や片付けもあるよ。こっちはセタリアとそんなに変わらないけど。
There really are a lot of things you have to take care of. I'll do my best to remember it all as fast as I can.
今日は私がついて見てるから心配しなくて大丈夫。先輩を頼りにしてください。
Right. Please take care of me, senpai. And so, I'm still a little nervous when the shop opens.
いらっしゃいませ。
A customer walks in as soon as we open, and Ichigo greets them with a warm smile. The customer looks over all of the cakes lined up in the case as they start their order.
まずは私がやってみるね。
I mean, okay, to be fair, with what they show in the background, right, in the case, they don't show any other baked goods. So, it would be right. You wouldn't be wrong in assuming that this is only for baking cakes, but Ichika proved that it isn't just about it. This Sweet's Tale sells more than just cakes.
はい、お持ち帰りですね。ショートケーキ、ミルフィーユが1つずつ、チーズケーキがお2つ。ご自宅まで15分ですね。かしこまりました。
I knew that she wasn't finished, and I fat fingered. Ichika shows me the notes that she's taken for the order, so that I can see how to do it. She takes the cakes out of the case in the order they're listed in, and swiftly places them into a box alongside some cooling packs. After processing the transaction, she hands over the package.
ありがとうございました。
Once she's finished seeing the customer off, Ichika turns to me.
とまあ、こんな感じだね。
Did you remember to memorize what the order was?
人がいるときは注文や会計、箱詰めを分担すると早く提供できるよ。一人だと意外と時間がかかるしね。
I see. So for the order that just happened, Ichika would have taken the order and handled the register, and I would have packed the items into the box, or vice versa, I guess.
いらっしゃいませ。 今度はゆずきさんが注文を受けてみてください。
Got it. The customer walks over with some of the cookies from the sales area in hand, so I take those from them first, and then I begin to write down their cake order. So that will be this financier, I think that's how you pronounce it. One Mont Blanc, and one traditional fruit tart. Will that be all? Seasonal fruit tart. After getting confirmation, I hand the note over to Ichika, who packs the box for me. While she does that, I start to ring the customer up.
ゆずきさん、お持ち帰りの時間も。
My apologies. How long will it be until you get to your destination? I see. 20 minutes. In that case, we'll include some cold packs. Ichika's whispered reminder spurs me on. I confirm the number of cold packs we need to include and let Ichika know. Thank you very much for waiting. Here is your order. A small smile flickers across the face of the customer as they're heading out. Even though I'm not the one making them, it gladdens my heart to know that the cakes here at Sweets Tale can bring a smile to people. I'm sorry, you went through all that trouble to teach me, and I already forgot one part.
どんまいです。最初はそんなものですよ。
Ichika's gentle, soft smile makes me feel better, even when I'm in the middle of working. Ichika's soft and fluffy, all the way to her smile, even though I just made a mistake, she can cheer me right up. Okay, you don't need to beat yourself over one mistake.
でも、ゆずきさんならすぐに覚えられると思いますよ。そうだ、今のうちにケーキを箱に入れるコツを教えておきますね。
Just take it as a learning experience and make sure not to do it again. Make the same mistake again. Thank you. I felt like I was pretty used to working at Sataria, but the work here at Sweets Tale is pretty different. Well, yeah, there's a lot more customers. Back to being a novice again. I continue to work while Ichika shows me what to do. Taking a cake out of the case is more nerve-wracking than I thought it would be. Cakes are soft by nature, so you have to be careful to not crush them. When you're packing the boxes, you can't leave too many empty spaces, so you have to be conscious of a lot of details.
ご来店ありがとうございました。
Whew, there really are a lot of things to take care of.
慣れればそんなでもないんだけど、慣れないうちは疲れるよね。
Because they handle cake sales in addition to the customers in the dining area, we have to take cakes and drinks to the tables, as well as clean up when customers leave. When the sales area is understaffed, one person has to handle the work of two. Since this is one of the more popular shops in Unigicho, the customers never really stop coming, so we're always kept busy.
ゆずきさん、そろそろ休憩の時間です。
Got it. By the way, where's Nana? Wasn't she supposed to be working here today?
ナナちゃんは厨房だよ。クリスマスの後でパティシエさんも休んでるから手が足りなくて。でも商品の補充にはまだ早いし、顔を見るくらいなら大丈夫じゃないかな。
We're not at the point where need to refresh the stock yet. You forgot a we. Thank you. Then I'll just go and say hi real fast. When I peek into the kitchen, this is pretty fucking clean for a patissier's kitchen. That color. Is that chocolate? Well, I hope it isn't anything other than chocolate. I hope it isn't any other brown substance. Nana stands there, maintaining a steady pace as she moves her rubber spatula, mixing the contents of the bowl smoothly. She's adding solid chocolate to the chocolate that's already melted, then mixing it all again. I wonder what she's doing. But wow, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool that I get a CG so quickly. Nana has a serious look on her face, which is not an expression I normally see on her. I don't know what she's doing, but she looks like a pro at whatever it is.
何見てんだおめえ。
Whoa. When she calls out to me, I jump like I've been caught trying to play a trick on someone. Granted, I am the one at fault, since I decided to watch without permission. Well, at least you aren't only looking at the ears this time. I wanted to watch you working in the kitchen, Nana. What are you doing? Mixing up all that chocolate?
テンパリング。
Tempering. Man, this guy hasn't played through Sugar Sweet Temptation.
天然パーマじゃねえぞ。市川テンパだが。
Oh, so Ichigo does have one. Wait, never mind that. What's tempering?
お前、チョコは溶かして冷やして固めれば終わりだと思ってる口だろ。
Yes, I do. So there's more?
夏場にチョコをほっとくと溶けて固まって白くなってることがあるだろ。
Oh, yeah. That's called bloom, right?
そうそれ。チョコの脂肪が不安定だからテンパリングしないとああなる。他にもツヤがなくなったり風味が悪くなったりするんだ。だから脂肪を安定した結晶にするためにチョコの温度を調節する。それがテンパリングだ。テレビかなんかでチョコレートを台の上に広げてるのとか見たことないか？
Oh, now that you mention it. They gather up the chocolate, they just spread it out again, and repeat that process over and over. I always wondered why.
あれもテンパリングのやり方の一つだ。台に広げてチョコを冷やしてんだよ。他にも水で冷やしたり、私がやったみたいにテンパリング済みのチョコを足したり、いろいろある。まあとにかくきちんとテンパリングしないとチョコがまずくなるってことだ。
I mean, okay.
詳しいことは自分で調べろ。説明すんのはめんどくせえ。
It's a pretty crazy example to use. Spreading it over a fucking table is flashy as all shit. Look, you don't need to you don't need to go that far when it comes to tempering, right? Usually, how it goes is, right, you put all the chocolate you're trying to temper into a bowl, right? You melt it over a double boiler, right? Which is, usually you put the bowl over a pot of boiling water and you constantly stir until it's all melted and homogeneous, and then you put that same bowl into an ice bowl. How do I say? You just put it on top of a bowl that you filled with ice, and that's how you can easily temper quickly without having to spread it over the countertop, which is probably dirty because it's a home kitchen. And you don't clean your table. You don't clean your countertops enough. So that's what it's all about. Like the CG with Nana was already pretty good. I don't know why she had to go with an example of spreading chocolate over over a countertop. I mean, like, I understand that it's an example that Yuzuki's probably seen because it's a baking show, but I can guarantee you there were other examples in the same baking show that were more realistic and less flashy. Nana says that the chocolate we normally eat is also properly tempered. So the chocolate that we eat so casually every day has gone through this laborious process too.
つーかよ、もう店休みでいいんじゃね？ケーキはクリスマスで食べたろうが。
That's not something a patissier should say.
くそ、正月になったら嫌というほどゲームしてやる。
And I want to be there. So Nana says as she goes back to work. Her hands don't stop moving, even as she complains. I think she really must like making sweets on some level.
まだ見てんのか？こんなの見てても面白いもんじゃねえだろ。
That's not true. Actually, I'd like to watch more if you'd let me.
変なやつ。
Well, you can only say that once it's your route. Until then, he's just a normal guy watching a pretty girl temper chocolate or something. Nana looks at me exasperated and pauses before speaking.
ゆずき、
Sorry, did I do something wrong?
ちげえよ。正月、一緒にゲームしようぜ。それだけ。
God fucking damn it. Okay, sure thing.
約束だからな。
Don't threaten me with a good time. When my shift at Sweet's Tale ends, I head over to Mochizuki. I'm supposed to help Kaguya with her practice today, but
意識すると余計に。
Kaguya brings some dango to my table, her tray clattering and shaking.
お団子です。
Even her voice is shaking. She's in the same state as she was yesterday. With no real results, despite practicing late into the night. Late into the night? Okay, no, I think I know what he means. He was just there late into the night with her. Yeah? No. No? That's... Yeah? I mean, it's not like they couldn't practice at the dorm, but I don't think they did. Never mind. It seems like there isn't going to be any improvements to Kaguya's problem dealing with men. Just give it some time, alright? It's only been like 2 days. Or 3 days. Or, you know, it hasn't been that long. Oh, no. I'm sorry I wasn't able to be of much use. And my only job here is to be her practice partner. So if all I'm doing is making poor Kaguya tremble, why am I even here?
ごめんなさい。
Because it will work out eventually. And it'll probably happen, hopefully, before Kaguya starts liking you. Because once she starts liking you, she's gonna pull a Chieri and start avoiding you even more than she already is. Don't worry about it. This is practice. And we only started yesterday. See? So I don't know what you're fucking complaining about. Complain about? Not the right word. I don't know what you're worried about.
そうだ、お団子食べる？そろそろお腹空いたでしょ。今日はお醤油のお団子にしてみたんだ。
Oh, thank you very much.
どうぞ。
The aroma of the lightly charred dango draws out the flavor of the soy sauce. The mild saltiness gets my appetite going, making all the dango both sweet and savory even more delicious.
邪魔するぜ。邪魔すんなら帰って。は？通じない？
I have the feeling that gag only works for people from the Kansai area. When someone comes in and it looks like they'll be leaving right away, that line is a pretty standard one to use on them.
ごめんなさい。変なこと言いました。いきなり何言うのかと思ったぜ。つうか、ゆずきはわかんのかよ。
I've spent some time in the Kansai area because of my father's work.
ふーん。ま、いいや。これもらうぞ。
Oh. Nana reaches out, grabs a skewer from my plate, and wolfs down the remaining dango on it.
うまい。
That was the last one. And besides that, what you just did...
関節キスってか？なんだ、今さら気にすんのかよ。
Listen. I don't think you understand the mentality of a visual novel protagonist. It doesn't matter how much time you spend with any girl, you will always worry about an indirect kiss. Even when you've already kissed them. That is the most egregious part. that is when it is the most egregious. If it doesn't bother you, then that's fine, I guess. That's the nun I know. Overly familiar, straight to the point, and not exactly the most feminine woman in the world, and that's why she's a femboy. Femboy? Tomboy. completely different names, titles, archetypes. But somehow that brought us closer together in an unexpected way. Meanwhile, Mitsuki and Kaguya are looking at us in shock.
今さらって、ゆずきくんとナナちゃんってそういう関係？
Not yet. Probably going to be the last in this game. So it's going to take a while before we are in that kind of relationship.
そういう関係ってどういう関係だよ。他人ならともかく同じ量だし、ダチみたいなもんだし、気にすんのがめんどくせえってだけだ。
そうなんですね。
While they don't look fully satisfied with that answer, they seem to have some idea of what my relationship with Nana is like. Meanwhile, it doesn't look like Nana has even realized what conclusion Mitsuki and Kaguya originally jumped to.
お団子をもっと作ろうか？ナナちゃんもいる？
I mean, she was able to clarify it in a way that didn't lead to any more misunderstanding, so that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. That's all that was needed. I could go for more, thanks.
じゃあ私も。
ご注文受けたまわりました。
I wonder if Kaguya serving to a man and a cat beast folk will serve, pun intended, to double her practice, I guess.
ゆずきはこんな時間まで何してたんだ？まさかずっと団子食ってたのか？
Well, I would have loved to eat your cake, but you slapped me across the face when I asked. Is it okay for me to say?
はい、大丈夫です。
Since I have Kaguya's permission, I explained to Nana that I'm helping her practice, so she can get used to being around men.
男が怖い？
Classic, actually, not really. I say classic, but in reality, the only characters that I've seen who are actually afraid of men, right? They are actually, misandrous. That one redhead from Wagnaria and now Kaguya. Right? The rest of them are like, I hate men, but they're just tsunderes.
はい。
But if we're including in real life, well, that's half of Twitter. Kaguya bathed in Nana's doubting gaze, tries to curl up into a ball. Nana, you're scaring Kaguya.
だって人間相手にビビる必要ないだろう。猫や犬の獣人に比べればウサギの獣人は非力かもしれねえが、人間相手なら余裕だろう。
Right? See? Look, what did I say? If Kaguya was to serve to both Nana and Yuzuki, it would work. She would be practicing for both of them. It's just, there are more men in Unigitra than there are cat and dog beast folk. But,
それは。
I think I'm average when it comes to physical strength, but I tried arm wrestling Nana once. And I couldn't even budge her. Yeah, no shit. She's probably, same height as you, and since she's a beast folk, she'll be like 10 times stronger than you. She's like slightly shorter, but she's definitely the tallest out of the... I was gonna say 4, but that was Amairo Chocolate 1. Out of the 6 beast folk. So even though they might not look physically impressive, in reality, beast folk are really strong. But I have the feeling that's not the problem here. So why do you have a hard time around men anyways, Kaguya?
それは。
Do you have some parental trauma, perhaps?
えっと、 どこから話そうかな。
Or were you perhaps bullied in the past? Or is it deeper than that? Mitsuki comes back to our table with freshly made dango on a plate and a pensive expression on her face.
かぐやちゃん引っ込み思案だから、小さい頃は男の子にからかわれることが多くてね。まったく、これだからガキンチョは。
美月さんだって見た目ガキじゃん。
Were you never taught? Were you never told? Oh, how would I say this? It's not taught, but you know, to try comfort a child who's getting teased. The parents would usually say, "Oh, they're only doing it because they like you," right? Did they never? Jesus Christ! Did their parents never tell Kaguya and Mitsuki that? No.
ナナちゃん、聞こえてるよ。
I'm sure you can. You have big ass ears.
げ、うさぎの獣人だからね。耳がいいんだよ。でも理由はそれだけじゃなくてね。二人とも赤ずきんのお話は知ってる？
そりゃ知ってるけど、それがどう関係してるんだ？
Do Rabbit Beast Folk have their own version of Red Riding Hood? But Red Riding Hood is a rabbit beast folk. Little Red Riding Hood runs into the wolf on the way to her grandma's house, and gets talked into wasting time before getting there. While she's wasting time, the wolf eats her grandma, and then it eats her as well once she arrives. It's not just a story about some girl getting eaten. It's supposed to be a warning about the dangers of being led astray, even though there's a lot more to the morals than just stranger danger, because the wolf literally broke into her grandma's house and ate her.
かぐやちゃんはね、赤ずきんに出てくる狼がすごく苦手なんだ。うさぎの獣人だから本能的に怖いんだと思う。
And even worse, the wolf dresses up as Red Riding Hood's grandma to trick her into getting closer to the wolf before eating her.
だけど、狼は悪い男の人のことだっていう説があるでしょ？かぐやちゃんはそれを知っちゃって。
Well, clearly these guys have never heard of furries before. And they would be very confused over the furry subculture of, you know, people who wear fursuits, considering they're fucking beast folk. You see, there's an erotic element to the story of Little Red Riding Hood. The story as we know it comes from a collection of folk tales gathered from all over before it became Little Red Riding Hood. Before it became Little Red Riding Hood, when it was just a folktale. The wolf wearing the grandmother's clothes tells Little Red Riding Hood to take off her clothes and get into bed. I don't remember this part of the story, but sure. It's like an evil adult deceiving a young girl, and the clothes and the bed add sexual undertones.
もともとシャイだったけど、それから余計に男の人を怖がるようになっちゃって。
I think I know why I think I know why that part of the story isn't taught to kids. In other words, Kaguya sees all men as the wolf. Well, I do got that dog in me. Never mind. Listen, it's not my fault that I am too ingrained into the furry culture to not have the fucking that picture of the wolf ripping off his clothes and and fucking howling to the moon every time they talk about wolves. All right, it's not my fault. Blame the furries. So I guess it is my fault. There are indeed men who embody the term wolf in sheep's clothing, not unlike the wolf in the story. So she hasn't exactly learned the wrong lesson, but Kaguya looks at me with an apologetic expression on her face, but I can tell that she's still frightened. Mitsuki said that Kaguya should be okay with me, but the shadow of the wolf still lingers. It's just, you know, you couldn't have picked a different animal, right? Like, you know, maybe a different prey animal, maybe a different predator animal to rabbits than a wolf. The shadow of the wolf still lingers. But
何の話してるんだ?
Nana seems to be a bit put off at being left out.
赤ずきんのお話はこにょこにょこにょ。
I think that was a pretty perfect timing. Mitsuki whispers into Nana's ear, an uncomfortable look on her face. It's hard not to notice a beast fox's ears when someone's whispering into them like that.
赤ずきんって、そんな、
Nana's face grows red up, like a fire was lit inside of her. Listen, if probably not the right expression to use. If Mitsuki told Nana what I think she told Nana, as she hears the explanation, she seems like a completely different person from the one who didn't care about the indirect kiss earlier. Well, yeah, there's a difference between an indirect kiss and fucking. Well, maybe they didn't go that far in Little Red Riding Hood, but...
狼がそういう意味だったとは。
You know what? Maybe Mitsuki didn't mention anything to do with how there are sexual undertones in the original story of Little Red Riding Hood. Right? And you know, maybe Mitsuki said maybe Mitsuki told Nana a different thing. Please don't look at me like that, Nana.
悪い。でもさ、そういう理由なら、私たちも怖いんじゃねえのか？
それは犬や猫は狼より怖くないので。
Yeah, but dogs come from wolves, right?
なに？
And then cats come from lions, which I would think would be even scarier than wolves. Nana, stop. She doesn't mean anything bad by it. And isn't that how most people see things?
猫だって強えんだぞ。
Okay, well, strong is different from scary, okay? I don't think she's trying to talk down on you, to you or anything.
まあ、男が怖い理由は分かったが、それなら無理に店を手伝う必要はないんじゃないか？
いえ、私は。
I don't think that's the right question to ask. I think the right question is, why are you working out here instead of in the kitchen? And Mitsuki can work out here as the waitress.
うん。確かに、そうかもしれないね。
Surprisingly, Mitsuki nods in agreement with Nana's statement.
ゆずきくんに練習を手伝ってもらってるのに言うのもなんだけど、本当に無理しなくていいからね、かぐやちゃん。お店のことは私が何とかするから。
Kaguya lowers her head sadly in response to Nana and Mitsuki's words. But it's not a nod of agreement.
とりあえず、団子食おうぜ。硬くなったらもったいねえよ。
The dango that Mitsuki made are delicious, but I can't stop worrying about Kaguya. Are you saying? Because here's the thing, right? I understand that we don't know her level of comparability when it comes to making dango, right? We just know that she is at a good enough level where she can help Mitsuki whenever she stumbles over something, right? So who knows, maybe her parents only taught Mitsuki how to make dango or whatever. But like, you know, whew. My first shift at Sweet's Tale was more tiring than I thought it was going to be, with so much to learn and do. I don't regret it, but right now, Kaguya is foremost in my mind. I can't just let things stay like this. I don't know what else I can do. I let my weight sink into the lounge's sofa as I sit there and think. But why is Kaguya...
あ、ゆずきさん、お疲れ様です。
Same to you, Ichika. Thank you for showing me the ropes today.
いえいえ、これでも先輩ですから。初日なのに頑張っていたと思いますよ。
I'm glad to hear that.
ゆずきさん、ここで漫画の本を見ませんでした？
Okay, so it was your manga, huh? I was really hoping that Yuzuki would see the cover of the manga and comment on it before he put it into the bookshelf. Oh, I put it on the bookshelf, but okay, well, I guess we get it now.
あ、本当だ。ありがとうございます。
Or not. The manga is called Cinderella of the Manor. It's what you'd call a pure love story aimed at ladies. Yeah, but if it's Ichika's, I doubt it's just a romance manga. This is the one that got made into a movie a few years back, right? The heroine is a woman who never knew her father, and after her mother passes away, she is taken in by her father's family, but as their maid. With nowhere else to go, she is bullied by the heiress of the family, as well as the other maids. However, she faces it all with determination and persistence. I mean, this is a different retelling of Cinderella, but it's pretty much the same. One day, as the heroine is cleaning their garden by herself, a distinguished young man from a big corporation really arrives to meet with the heiress.
私は映画は見てないんですけど、評判は良かったらしいですね。
Yeah, it was pretty good.
ゆずきさん、見たんですか？意外ですね。
Okay, maybe I judged Ichika a bit too unfairly. Not everything that she consumes has to be perverted. Some things can be wholesome romance, chungus stuff. I had the chance, so I took it. But some folks said it was too cliched.
いいじゃないですか。ベタなのも。
Is this the developer's response to anyone complaining about the cliches in Amairo chocolate? The son, who has been feeling constrained by his own situation, it builds a rapport with the unconventional heroine, and they grow attached to one another. There are arguments and misunderstandings, but the son chooses the heroine and not the heiress, and they end up happily together.
映画だとあのシーンはどうでした？ほら、お嬢様に捕まったヒロインが助けられるところ。
They adapted it faithfully. The performances were quite powerful.
それなら見に行けばよかったかもしれません。ヒロインのピンチに現れた彼はまさしく王子様でした。
Ichika really must like that scene. She clutches the manga close to her chest as if trying to absorb it into her heart. You like princes?
へへへ、実はそうなんですよ。
Ichika smiles shyly. I've seen her smile many times, but I think this may be the first time I've seen her look like this.
小さい頃はシンデレラとか白雪姫とかよく読んでいました。お恥ずかしい話ですけど、やっぱり昔はお姫様になりたいって思っていたんです。女の子ですから。白馬の王子様に憧れてる なんて言ったら笑われますかね。でもそういう恋をしてみたいって思っちゃうんです。
No, I wouldn't laugh at you. Everyone has their own dreams.
ありがとうございます。ナナちゃんに言ったら、お前馬の獣人が好みなのかって不思議そうに言われましたけど。
I don't like the insinuation there. That's where her mind went.
確かに白馬の王子様ですけどね。
That's so Nana. That's so Nana, though. I guess mentioning horses and princes in the same sentence might have different connotations for beast folk. There are rabbit beast folk, so I'm sure that horse beast folk must exist somewhere. Yeah, they exist in Uma Musume. That's where all the horse beast folk are.
今も物語を読んでいると、お姫様に憧れていた気持ちを思い出しちゃいます。
A princess, huh? I think you would be a splendid princess. You're already cute enough to deserve the title. Inside the back of my mind, Chieri is nodding in agreement. For some reason, Ichika's face is bright red.
それはお世辞でも言い過ぎではないでしょうか。
Well, listen, Yuzuki, the thing is, you are, at this point in time, the closest thing to a prince in Ichika's mind. No, it's not flattery. I really feel that way, especially since you're probably the only guy she interacts with on a daily basis. Well, especially on a daily basis. But I guess I should have said regularly.
そんなに言われたら恥ずかしいです。
Is it? Oh, looks like I've embarrassed Ichika by shooting my mouth off. And now that I think about it, even I'm embarrassed that I called her cute and enough to be a princess. Even if it is true.
そういえば、お屋敷の執事の役者さんはどなただったんでしょう。すごく個性的な登場人物でしたけど。
Huh? Oh, who is that again?
印象に残りませんでした？
It's not that, but it's been a few years. I feel like they were able to do justice to the character, though.
そうなんですね。やっぱり借りてみてみようかな。
I have a feeling the butler character wasn't adapted in the movie. The butler is the heroine's actual father, watching over her from the shadows. He was definitely memorable. Okay, no, he was adapted. He's just unique? The rest of the storyline was pretty traditional, but the butler felt like he came from a totally different story, for better or worse. By the way, speaking of fairy tales, do you know the story of Little Red Riding Hood?
もちろん知っていますけど、それがどうかしたんですか？
You see, Kaguya has a hard time dealing with men. Apparently she sees them all as the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood. As kinky as that sounds, she doesn't see it in a good way, unlike you might.
なるほど。獣人ならではかもしれませんね。
I wonder if there are any good ways to help her conquer her fears.
それなら怖くない男の人もいるって実感できることが大事なんじゃないでしょうか。飛行機事故は車の交通事故より少ないと言いますが、それでも怖いという人は少なくないですよね。それと同じで、頭では分かっていても気持ちが怖いままだとやっぱり怖いですから。
So she needs to feel it. Kaguya's impressions of the world are largely based around her fears. So just as Ichika says, we need her to know that there are men who aren't frightening as well, not just in her head, but in her heart. But just how can we go about doing that?
赤ずきんに出てくる狼は 悪い男の人のことですが、実はそうじゃないかもしれませんよ。今に知られる物語が赤ずきんとして世に出たのは、フランスのシャルル・ペローが民話を編纂し、童話にまとめたものが最初と言われていますよね。狼に食べられた後に漁師に助けられてというのは、ペロー童話にはなかったグリム童話の後付けだそうです。余談ですけど、赤ずきんは民話だと狼に言われて裸になるんですが、その後逃げるお話の方が多いそうですよ。
Oh, really?
もちろん食べられる結末のものもありますけど、ペロー版からは狼に食べられるのがお決まりになりましたね。
Oh, I see. So there are versions of Little Red Riding Hood where she doesn't get eaten too. Well, the Red Hood seems to have originated with the Paralot version, so I guess those girls are just Little Red Riding Hood adjacent.
ただ、民話に登場するその狼は獣人だったのではないかと考えることもできます。
Oh, now that you mention it, that's a possibility. I didn't know about beast folk before I moved here, but they've existed in the world for a long time. So it wouldn't be surprising if there were traces of their existence in folk tales.
人の言葉を理解する獣。私はそこから獣人を想起しました。実際に獣人に襲われた子がいて、そこから民話の形になったのかもしれません。あくまで憶測ですし、本当に悪い男の人に気をつけろという教訓かもしれませんが。
They say that beast folk used to eat humans, so there's a chance that Ichika's theory might be correct. If that's the case, then it's pretty miraculous that humans and beast folk aren't openly at war right now.
助けを呼ぶ声の届かない森の中、狼に力ずくで組み伏せられて、無理やり。
What did I tell you?
欲望のはけ口にされて、そんな乱暴にしちゃダメ。
I was gonna go along with what Ichika said, but I'm choosing to refrain against it. Ichika? She's in her own little world right now. Ichika! Are you alright? Are you feeling okay? She might be a little wet.
いえ、大丈夫です。すみません。ちょっと眠くてぼんやりしてしまって。
If you say so. In that case, you should go to bed early tonight. Good night.
そうですね。おやすみなさい。
Ichika takes the manga back to her room. But her tail twitches and Ichika turns to face me.
そうそう。ゆずきさんにはまだ言ってなかったと思うんですけど、年明けの1月2日から母の挨拶回りに同行するので、その間、寮を離れます。帰ってくるのは6日のお昼くらいになると思います。
Aha. Making the rounds? For Hinaka's business, you mean?
それもあるんですが、主に獣人関係で。ゆずきさんに言いましたっけ？母はこの一帯の獣人の取りまとめ役なんですよ。
Right, I guess mediator would be the right title to use, but ambassador's a better word. I like ambassador better. So you're saying she's a pretty big deal then?
そうです。ですからそのおまけというか、付き添いに。
So that's why Hinaka had the authority to let me stay in the storm. She must have been a bit surprised that some stranger with a weird ability showed up at her front door. She never really seemed like any sort of big shot when I met her in person, though. I understand. Take care on your trip. She likes to stay low key, you know.
ありがとうございます。じゃあ 今度こそおやすみなさい。
Yeah, good night. Also, another one where I fat fingered, but it's probably it's almost perfectly timed. Hello.
こんにちは。
Today is yet another day of practice with Kaguya, and I'd like to finally have a proper plan in mind. How can I get her to feel that there are some men who aren't scary?
今日もありがとう、ゆずきくん。おぜんざい作ったんだけど食べる？
Yes. Yes.
お餅焼くからちょっと待っててね。
You know, I feel like we could have, fast-tracked to thinking up a plan to help with Kaguya's training if you if you told Yuzuki about why she's scared of men in the first place. But look, to be fair, we only started 2 days ago, so better slightly early than never. Because I don't think it's late, right? It's not like they plateaued in the training and then only then Mitsuki talks about why Kaguya is scared of men. But soon the scent of roasting mochi floats over to me. And Mitsuki walks over to the kitchen with a tray carrying enough red bean soup for all of us. The red bean soup here at Mochizuki is Kansai style, with round pieces of mochi in it. The broth clings to the mochi, which pairs with the beans to give it a wonderful texture. By the way, when is Mochizuki going to open?
来年の年明けだよ。準備はもうほとんど終わってるし、三が日が終わったあたりにしようと思うけど。
I want to help Kaguya be able to deal with customers by then, but next year is almost here already. I wonder if January 3rd will be the time where we decide on whether we want to work at Sweet's Tail or Mochizuki. Right? Because, okay, here's the thing. Even if I wasn't spoiled by the guide, that is kind of where I would get the feeling of that choice popping up. Right? Because you can't date Kaguya if you aren't working in the same workplace as her. I mean, you can, realistically speaking, because she lives in the same dorm, but that ain't good. That won't work in Amairo Chocolate. You have to work with her. Really? Right at the start of the year.
どうしたんですか?
No, it was just the thought I had that it might be fun to do some mochi pounding, and if you did it in front of the shop during New Year's, it could be good advertising.
なるほど。餅好きでお餅つき。うまいね。
Mitsuki has such a self-assured look on her face, and it's hard to tell her that I wasn't going for that angle.
いいね。やりたいね。お餅つきなら実家でやってたから自信あるよ。ね、かぐやちゃん。
でも、牛とキネがないと。
Yeah, maybe this scene or that scene will showcase to the audience at what level of skill Kaguya is at when it comes to making mochi and dango.
そうだった。
Would you be able to buy them from the store?
本店なら行事用にあるんだけど、さすがにこっちには持ってきてないね。
Or from a store?
毎日お餅つきするわけにはいかないから、お店で使うお餅は専用の機械でついてるし。
Ah, they have modern technology to help pound the mochi. Even if we have the mochi rice, we can't do anything without the mortar and the mallet. It's too bad, but...
お邪魔します。
Well... I was gonna say, look what the cat dragged in, but never mind. Look what the cat dragged in. There was a pun. I missed the opportunity to say it.
邪魔すんなら。
お姉ちゃん。
そうだった。
本当にお邪魔だった？あー、おぜんざい食べてる。私も食べたい。
気にしないで。みくりちゃんの分もおぜんざい用意するね。
ありがとうございます。
Mitsuki brings out a bowl for Mikuri, and we all sit down at the same table. Mikuri eats her red bean soup with an expression of utter bliss. So what's up, Mikuri?
今日はバイトお休みだから来てみただけ。お団子じゃないけど、おぜんざい美味しくて幸せ。
Hey, Mikuri, your hometown doesn't happen to have a mortar and a mallet, right? That would be perfect for pounding mochi. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
今日は準備中だからお団子はないけど、今度は用意しておくね。
また来る。お店っていつ始まるの？
オープンは年明けの予定なんだけど。
And once the mochi pounding on New Year's Day is mentioned,
お餅つきならうちの里でも毎年やってたよ。懐かしいな。里ってもしかして獣人の里ですか？そうそう、本当に獣人しかいないんだよ。しかもうちは犬の獣人ばっかり。
yeah, it might be too scary for you. Some of them might be wolf beast folk.
獣人の里って今もあるんだ。不思議な雰囲気だと思ってたけど、それでかな。
Yeah, Mikuri, you seem... I thought you seemed a little slow. Jesus Christ, Mitsuki. Kagi and Mitsuki both look surprised when they hear where Mikuri is from. It looks like beast folk homelands are few enough in number that even beast folk don't expect to meet somebody from one. It might be the case that prey animal beast folk are less likely to have beast folk homelands, right?
二人は里じゃないんだ。はい、私たちが住んでいたところは獣人も人間もいました。ウサギの獣人が多い土地柄で、望月本店の従業員はみんなウサギの獣人なんです。
And I mean, okay, I can expand on why I think that, but you know, the way I'm trying to think about it is so fucking convoluted that it would not make any sense. Alright, that's the best way I can put it.
へえ、一度行ってみたいな。ねえねえ、私もお餅つきしていい？こう見えても自信あるよ。すみません。今はウスとキネがお店になくて。そうなんだ。残念。私もお餅つきしたかったんだけど。あ、ウスならあるって神様が言ってる。
What? Okay, I mean, I guess it makes sense that she couldn't bring the mortar and mallet from her homeland to here, because it's probably pretty fucking far away, and they're also probably gonna do some mochi pounding in their homeland on New Year's, so I guess that makes sense. But what do you mean? This is the most coherent the gods have been, right?